So recently, Magni Dezmond, the alchemist of Holostars, again had a 1.5 model update, and he started his debut with lore. And not just a lore video that was pre-made, no, he had an entire script that he live performed with a slideshow with drawings that he did himself, which is not really something that we've seen before, aside from Shu Yamino, who also performed live. But as this was completely scripted with music and everything, it was so high production value for something that was not pre-recorded. Fair warning though, it's about 30 minutes long, so before you start watching, go grab a snack and something to hydrate with and sit back and enjoy.
What you're about to hear is the last chapter to a story. I think that's a way you can think about it. What kind of story? Well, this story is one about a young alchemist.
Okay.
Self-proclaimed, that is. It's the middle of the night in Elysium. Most everyone in the guild hall is asleep, not including the one, the only,
Oh,
Magni
he's doing
Dezmond.
it like this. Oh, that's
Up
cool.
late in his laboratory, like always. He's brewing up some sort of new concoction. Something to wow the world, as always. I'm almost done. Just a couple more changes, he says. As
How's
he
the
reaches
volume,
for
by
a
the way,
beaker.
chat?
He knocks it over.
F.
Glass shatters everywhere, and a bright red ooze splatters across the floorboards. The ringing of the glass can be heard across the room and down the hall. In the middle of this night, all the magmites around stop and stare.
Oh.
Ah,
Oh, he looks cute with glasses on.
sorry everyone. Been a little clumsy lately. My eyesight's been getting a little worse. Don't worry, it's nothing. All the magmites stare up at their master with a concerned look.
They're indeed concerned. Look how cute they are.
Sorry. Sorry about that, he says as he reaches down. Let me pick this mess up. Desmond crouches down to pick up the broken beaker. As he rummages around, he notices something odd.
Okay.
A cool wind grazes his palm.
He looks so good with glasses. It's stupid.
What is this? He feels a draft. Something's not right. He starts to feel around at the floorboards.
This is such a unique way to do lore, by the way.
And with a click, a heavy wooden door swings upwards, revealing a staircase
Interesting.
leading into a dark corridor.
I wouldn't ever be able to do something like this live because I feel like I'm gonna mess up my
What?
script. Like timings and stuff.
What is this?
I just pre-record it and just play it, probably.
I can't see a thing down there, it's so dark. I don't remember installing anything like this. What? Was this you?
Who?
He gives the magmites a suspicious
Oh, the
glare as they
magpies.
nervously
Yeah,
dart
so
their
us.
eyes back and forth.
Yeah, why?
Ugh. Suppose I'll have to figure this out myself, Magni says, as he decides to descend the dark staircase.
I love how this really sketchy art, but it's still really
Where
good.
could this possibly lead? Sort of darkness emanates from down below. Tap. Tap. The clicks of his heels can be heard echoing from the darkness below.
Magni is such a good artist.
Seemed like they descended forever.
Even with something as sketchy as this, it's still so alive.
What is all this?
And dynamic.
I think it's so dark. Desmond was scared but determined to find out where this mysterious passage led to. What is this? Is this some sort of prank? No, this is much too much. For a simple prank. I was this always here? He walked for what seemed like hours.
I can understand why it's 30 minutes long if there are pauses like this every time. Oh, the music changes. Oh god. That's not good.
He could feel the sound of his heart beat against his chest.
Oh god.
Eventually he saw some light creaking from around a corner and slowly approached. What? What is this?
The expression is so good.
Magni found himself at the opening of a passage that led into an expansive room.
Oh, what?
A bright green glow was seen all around as it emanated from the various machinery and tanks all around.
What?
Wires of all sizes lay strewn across the floor and danced to and from the robotic hellscape that laid out in front of him.
Are these clones of him?
On either side of the room were 2 rows of large glass tubes. They were massive and reached the ceiling from the ground. Inside, a flurry of bubbling green liquid could be seen swirling about.
Oh,
the
this is
machines whirred
disturbing.
and chimed as these large glass tubes operated. It seemed that all the chaos in this apparent laboratory was for the sake of these large tanks. The alchemist approached curiously. His eyes widened, and he could feel the heat drain from his face as his feet froze in front of the closest tank. This is just like the Prestige. What? This is impossible. What is this? These things, they look like... They look like me. He muttered through a shaky breath as he got closer to look inside the tank. A figure was floating in the green liquid, curled up into a ball with its eyes closed. As Magni said, the figure inside bore a striking resemblance to himself, though not quite a spitting image. Long flowing hair darted around the tank. The body appeared smaller than the alchemist's frame. One could notice the mole that usually adorned Magni's chin was closer to the eye, and instead of on top of his head, the submerged figure's purple halo lay firmly on the back shoulder.
What?
As Magni paced the room cautiously, he realized that every tank contained a similar form, a doppelganger, although each one had slight differences from one another.
So this
Mole
is how
placement,
he
hairstyle,
made
where
his
the halo adorned
1.5
itself, body build,
canon.
but undoubtedly these were all Magni Dezmond. These are all... They're me.
It's so disturbing.
Not exactly. The alchemist snapped to his side at the sound of someone else's voice. Who's there? Show yourself.
Oh, it's a Magmite? Okay.
From the opposite side of the room emerged a figure, obscured by the shadows. What came forward appeared to be a Magmite. What? What's going on? Mag? The alchemist was stricken with fear.
The music is making me
Understandably
so
so.
tense.
As
And on
what stood in
edge.
front of him was no ordinary Magmite.
Oh, what the? That's disturbing. That's very disturbing.
This Magmite appeared to have a mechanical body. It easily towered at twice the size of Magni when it was propped up. Tubes and wires drilled into the Magmite's pulsing flesh. The healthy purple tone appeared faded.
I'm
and sickly.
scared.
The dull eyes looked back at Magni with a hollow feel. It wheezed as the gears turned and oil oozed out from the chassis. This was not a simple Magmite. It was a monster.
I would piss my pants if I had something like that in front of me.
Magmite Prime.
Oh,
The
that's...
very first Magmite. The creature pained to call out from its mouth, hidden behind a mechanical mess. No, I don't recall there being any Magmites that can talk. Magni stood his ground. Is it? Have you ever thought to yourself where Magmites even come from? The monster
That's a good question, actually.
retorted. No, they've always been here. They're my little mags. Magni averted his eyes and found himself backed into a corner.
Good question.
So
That's a very good
naive
question.
you are. And that's what I've always liked about you. So innocent at times. It's cute, really. Magmite Prime chortled as the machinery pulled him closer. The gears turning shook the entire room. As your Mag Lord, I demand an explanation for all this. What are these things? They look like me. Tofu clones. What? Yes. I've spent years trying to perfect the formula. But I do think it's time for you to die now.
Oh my god, what? I didn't leave my phone. I don't even think I have my phone here.
The monster raised its fist high into the sky. Magni
I
couldn't
realized I
find any
never
words
turned
as it
on the
stood
light
frozen.
behind me.
The mechanical beast raised its arm to bring down on the alchemist. Surely one swing would send his guts splattering against the walls. What? Wait. Another Magmite found its way down the staircase.
Oh, that's creepy.
It stood at Magni's feet. It growled up at the monster as it shook with fear. Oh,
It's so
little
scared.
one.
Look at the little guy.
You're confused. Don't grow attached to them. You know better than that. The beast brought its hand down on the little Magmite.
That's... What are you gonna do to the little guy? Don't hurt it. Oh.
A
God damn it.
horrific yelp could be heard
Ugh.
as its body turned to mulch.
What?
The monster raised its hand to reveal purple guts dripping from the underside.
Ah,
All
gross.
Magni could do was stand there. What? What are you?
What was that
Managed to
good
ask
for?
in short, labored breaths. The Magmite monstrosity seemed to hesitate. It took a breath and spoke. I guess it wouldn't do any harm at this point.
What is
Magmite
doing
Prime
harm?
began to tell his own story.
Okay.
Many years ago, there was an alchemist. Or should I say alchemist in training.
Okay.
He had someone very dear to him. They were dear to each other.
Oh, he was in love.
But their time was cut short. This person was lost to him.
Oh.
And the alchemist couldn't bear it.
Now we're getting into the good stuff.
To be without the person he loved most. So he turned to his forte. Alchemy.
Oh no. We all saw
The
that ended in
union of
Full
magic
Metal
and
Alchemist.
science and desperation. Oh, how clever he thought he was. He wanted to bring
God.
this person back. If he could only just have a single minute together again. A chance to say goodbye. Anything. So he took to his lab.
This is not gonna end well, isn't it?
Creating life was a simple task for the great Magni Dezmond. What a fool. He poured everything he could into his alchemy. Broke every rule there was to break. Using some hair in his lover's old dorm room at the academy, he transcribed everything about this person into the magic for his cauldron.
I like how they're fake about the gender of this
perfect
person.
recipe. Or so he thought.
Oh no.
Out of the bubbling ooze of a lover's desperation came me, the first Magmite. Magmite Prime,
Interesting.
as I've known myself as. A pitiful attempt at bringing that person back. The science was as incomplete as the magic was incomprehensible.
Wait.
I am
All Magmites
some sort of copy.
are an
An
attempt at
imitation.
resurrecting this person.
He looked at me with
Interesting.
such disgust. But for me, I held all that love they had for each
Little
other.
cutie is.
All those memories and details that the alchemist poured into that cauldron. Everything. And so, I
It's
loved
just a
him
little
too.
guy. Just a little guy.
But I wasn't enough. I lacked form, function, and most importantly, life. I wasn't real enough for him.
No.
So he kept trying.
No.
Magmite after Magmite. But still,
Oh, this is actually sad.
he was too inexperienced. Lacked
Aw.
the information and the secrets to accomplish what he was trying to do. I saw more and more of us tossed to the side. Failure after failure. But each one bred with the same love that those two students once shared. Unreciprocated, of course, in this form. It was taking its toll on him.
Oh.
The magic was taking more from him than he had anticipated.
Oh, of course.
With each attempt, a little bit of his life escaped him. I saw him grow. Tired. Sick. Empty. A husk of that starry-eyed alchemist
No.
that I once knew. He was at his end. We could see it. We could all see it. And
Really
although he
pulling on
tossed
our
each one of us
strings.
aside, I still loved him. And we all did.
Oh.
Eventually, he succumbed to his passion. Up here in this decrepit lab, tucked away in some no-name village orbiting Elysium,
So if he died.
I was abandoned. We all were.
So if Magni died making of the Magmites, are the Magmites doing the same thing Magni did to resurrect their loved one, but then with Magni? They seem to be doing a better job if that's the case than Magni actually, because they're making an actual person.
And I couldn't take it. So I took up his mantle and furthered his research. Together, my brothers, no, my reflections more like. We developed a branch of alchemy known as tofu cloning. We built on our creator's work and poured our love into him and more.
That's so cool. Look at that.
Eventually we did it. Magni Dezmond was once more. But ironically, we fell to the same pitfalls our master once did. These tofu clones were not right, not full. They were taken from when my master was falling ill, when he was at his weakest. Each one barely had enough life in them to speak.
This is sad. Poor little Magmites.
What? This can't be. You're lying. Oh.
I don't want to cry.
I do wish I was. Unfortunately not. I didn't have enough time. I was barely awake. I felt myself waning, as my master once did. It felt like walking through a heavy fog at times. My mind grew cloudy. I could feel my time coming, but my work was not finished. So I built myself a prison, this body, to keep the job going. A
Yeah.
mechanical body to keep myself sustained. But it keeps me confined down here. I command the little ones. They are weaker and dumber than I am. But their longevity and resilience prove useful to me. So we kept going. Tofu clone after tofu clone.
I wonder why it's called tofu clone.
Each one a little better than the last. Each one a little different from the last. No clone was the same. We strive for that perfection that was lost to us. It seems each new version learns a little something from the failure before. And eventually, the time comes for the clone to expire.
Oh.
As you are now. What? The alchemist was visibly confused by all this. What are you talking about?
That's why his eyesight is declining. Because he's dying.
You're going to die now, Magni Dezmond. Have you noticed yourself getting weaker? A broken back. Vision, not quite as sharp as it used to be.
These clones are
The
not
alchemist
holding
was
for very
silent.
long.
Exactly. Your time to expire has come, and a new you awaits. While the Magmite was distracted, Magni broke into a dead sprint out of the laboratory. He needed to get out of there.
Run.
He ran as fast as he could,
Run, Magni, run.
but his steps felt heavy. Magmite Prime called to him down the corridor.
There's no use, Magni. It's either me or time that will take you. Little ones, bring him to me.
Magni's such
The
a good
words grew faint
storyteller.
as Desmond got further down the hall, but his lungs failed him, and he collapsed against the cold steel of the wall. As his vision grew blurry, he caught the glimpse of a wave of Magmites approaching.
This is dark and sad.
I guess this is it.
Not a music change? Yeah.
Desmond closed his eyes as images of his time at the academy came to him. The busy halls, the crowded library, the first time he and that warrior met and shared a meal.
And those
Fond memories
are also
consoled him
fake.
as he let out his final breath. The Magmites came to find a lifeless
Wow.
Magni Dezmond lying against the wall.
Throw him in with the others.
The
Throw him in with
commanding
the others?
Magmite ordered.
How many autos do they have?
The little ones carried Magni's body to a room with a large opening at the bottom of the floor.
They're all sad. Look at them, they're
Water
sad.
lapped at the sides. All you could see was a dark blue through the white foam churning on the surface. The Magmites threw Magni's body into the water. Eventually, it floated to the bottom,
Now you're tugging
where
at my
it lay aside
heartstrings.
countless other Magnis, each one slightly different from the other. As we pan out from the bottom of the ocean floor, we even lose track of the Magni that was just with us a moment before. He was now lost in this crowd.
Because there's so many. That's so messed
Above.
up.
The Magmites pulled their levers, pressed their buttons. The machinery screamed, and steam escaped through the cracks.
This is the first bit of color that
One
we're
of the
seeing, I
large
think.
glass tubes opened, and the body inside slid onto the cold floor. It shook violently as green liquid escaped its mouth. Its
Ugh.
eyes were listless, dull. The Magmites clothed this new Magni as they guided him up the stairs back into his lab.
So he wakes in the lab, just
With each
thinking
step,
he just
More
Fall
and more
asleep or
color
something?
came to this clone's face. Black and gray started to wash out against the colors beaming down from the opening at the top of his predecessor's old lab. Memories. Whose exactly? Unsure at this point.
yeah, that's.
But
Oh.
nonetheless, the memory started to rush into his head, still in a foggy daze. As the Magmites brought him into his room, they closed the hidden door and scattered about the place.
Mm.
At that moment, Magni's eyes snapped to life as he stood at his desk in front of all these people. The stream is starting, and it's time to meet the one, the only, the great Magni Dezmond.
Wow.
I didn't do an outro because I did this live on stream on YouTube for a change, where I looked into the entire Holo Tempus lore. So I want to give my thoughts on it right now because I didn't do it at the time. But I'm honestly just genuinely impressed with how Magni has been outdoing himself every time again. Like, this lore video is just to explain why he looks slightly different but still the same, and he just made the updates that he was gonna get regardless canon in his lore. Like, this wasn't just some 2-minute update just trying to explain something. No, he wrote an entire script to it and he performed it live, and it was so good. I think it's akin to like an audio drama with like complementary images, and the fact that he just performed it all live, it's so well thought out. And honestly, it's a good thing for VTuber lore, because with Shoujo Mythos and all of the other Merryweather Media lore videos that indies are doing that are costing thousands and thousands of dollars, seeing these more simpler style lores or like different stuff that still conveys the story, even if it's a different production value, it's genuinely a good thing. Like, one of the Nietzsche Crisis boys did an entire lore videos with popsicle stick figures, like an elementary school puppet show. I've not seen it at this point in time, but I'm enjoying the creativity that people are bringing to their lore as a VTuber, and I think it also will open up doors for more people to explore that lore, because videos like this from agency VTubers nonetheless, people that in fact can afford the higher production stuff but decide to do it differently, it can change the standard to something more creativity based instead of quality based. And that's not to say that this doesn't have quality, but it's like comparing apples and oranges. Like, there is just something to a fully animated or an animatic lore video that Merryweather Media provides or other animation studios. There's also something really, I don't know, personal about videos like these. And I just wanted to say that. As for comments on the lore itself, I think I've given as much commentary as I could during the reaction itself, but I do want to say that I do find this lore very unique, as it's a bit darker and a bit more detailed. A lot of lore is like a quick summary, like, oh, I was a demon from hell thousands of years ago, this, and this happened, and I came to Earth, blah, blah, blah. This is a whole thing that seemed to be happening in real time. Like, the performance overall was like 30 minutes long, and the events that took place in this lore video could also like take place in about 30 minutes. Like, it was mostly like a conversation, things happening in real time and narrated in real time, which honestly made it a lot more immersive and less of a backstory and more like a narrative lore. Because that's something I also really see a lot, is that a lot of VTubers just try to churn out a backstory, but it lacks a narrative in a way. Like, it explains where you came from, it explains your powers, explains how you looked like, but sometimes the personal connection in trying to tell a story about who you are, but also what you would do in a random situation. Like, this was just a Magni clone trying to deal with the existential horror of like realizing, first of all, I'm dying, I'm also a clone, I'm gonna be replaced, everything I knew was a lie, and how that played out in real time. That showed so much more of the personality and like the character, maybe not of Magni Dezmond as a creator, but more of Magni Dezmond as the character, which in all fairness added a lot more depth to the character than I have seen from people that have all these elaborate lore videos. To be fair, Shoujo Mythos also does this type of thing that I just explained, but I've seen people pour a lot of money and a lot of effort in trying to make this extravagant lore video, but I feel like I still don't know who they are. While with this lore video, I guess I can call it a video because it's now part of a VOD, it just screams Magni's personality, both as a creator and as a character, which makes this lore stand out to me personally a lot more. And that says a lot for someone that has consumed a lot of VTuber lore and has really dived into universes and connections and everything. But yeah, that's as much as I can really say. If you are interested in me reacting and looking into more of the Holo Tempus lore, I have a live stream, I will link it in the description, where I just reacted to everything. So it will just be uncut reactions, but do stay tuned for all the videos because I will be adding commentary for intros and outros. So even if you have watched the stream, the videos will still offer new content that will only be in that video. Thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!